At 14 years old, I stood in front of a cracked mirror in our flat in Abadan, trying to cover bruises with face powder I bought from a small kiosk down the street. And I whispered to myself, "This is not okay. This is not who I will become. I will love my children. Violence will not be allowed in my home. My name is Funk Adeyemi." And that promise would change everything. My parents, Kunal and Bizi Adeyemi, separated when I was 8. My father left because my mother was violent toward him. In our neighborhood, people talked, but only in whispers. Some said, "It's a family matter." Others said a man should endure. But after my father left, the anger didn't just disappear. It stayed in the house, a heavy, silent presence. And slowly, it turned toward me. Every week, I went to secondary school with fresh bruises. My teachers saw me. My classmates saw me. But no one ever asked. I never told my father what was happening. Not because I wasn't in pain, I was. It was a constant ache in my heart, deeper than any physical mark. I kept silent because I wanted my mother to love me. I truly believed that if I just tried harder, if I cooked better jollof rice, if I kept the house cleaner, if I spoke more gently, maybe she wouldn't be so angry. Maybe, just maybe, I would finally be enough for her. So at 14, standing in front of that cracked mirror, looking at a reflection I barely recognized, I made a promise to my future self. This ends with me. That moment was a turning point. It was the first time I understood that I had a choice. I couldn't change my mother, but I could change the path I was on. The violence, the silence, the pain, it wasn't my destiny. I decided it would be my history, but not my future. Making that promise didn't magically fix everything. The years that followed were tough. There were days I felt so lost, so alone, convinced that I was broken beyond repair. The echoes of my childhood followed me everywhere. I had to learn what a healthy relationship even looked like. I read books, I watched people, and I started going to therapy. It was terrifying at first, to speak these secrets out loud. But with every session, a little bit of the weight lifted. I learned to set boundaries. I learned to say no. Most importantly, I learned to love myself, not for what I could do for others, but just for being me. It was a slow, painful process of unlearning and relearning. I had to forgive my mother, not for her, but for me, so I could finally be free. Then, I met my husband, David. He was gentle, kind, and patient. When I would flinch from a sudden movement or go quiet for no reason, he didn't get angry. He would just hold my hand and wait. He showed me that love doesn't have to hurt. With him, I felt safe for the first time in my life. And when our first child was born, our daughter, Amara, I held her in my arms and looked into her tiny, trusting eyes. The promise I made to that 14-year-old girl in the mirror came flooding back. This is where the cycle breaks. Our home is a place of laughter, not shouting. It's a place of hugs, not fear. We talk about our feelings, even the difficult ones. I'm teaching my children that their voices matter, that their emotions are valid, and that love should always, always feel safe. It's not always easy. Sometimes, old triggers resurface. But now, I have the tools to handle them. I have the support of my family. And I have that promise I made to myself all those years ago. When I was 16, a particularly bad incident sent me to the hospital. For 10 days, doctors watched me closely, not sure if the damage would ever fully heal. My father rushed from Abeokuta to be by my side. That was the day he finally learned the truth about what was happening at home. He begged me to come and live with him, to leave my mother. But I said no. I truly believed that after something this serious, after landing me in the hospital, it would finally stop. And for a while it did. But not before one last, final moment. One evening, I was on the phone with my friend Saad. My mother came storming toward me, her face twisted in anger. But this time, something inside me shifted. For the very first time in my life, I didn't step back. I didn't flinch. I didn't apologize for something I hadn't done. We stood there, face to face, so close I could feel her breath. And in a quiet, firm voice, I said, "It ends today." That was the last time my mother ever hurt me. That same year, I left home for a small college in Osun State. I carried a lot of fear with me, but I also carried a newfound determination. Years went by. I became a wife, then a mother to 3 wonderful children, Tund, Zainab, and Mareo. And with them, I finally built the home I never had growing up. A home filled with safety, with laughter, and with peace. After 16 years of marriage, my husband and I separated. It was a difficult time. One Christmas, he came over, using the excuse of picking up the children. But then he pushed past me and started carrying things out of the house, things that weren't his to take. I tried to stop him, to reason with him, and that was when he hit me. It happened just once, and it never, ever happened again. Because in that shocking moment, I heard the voice of my 14-year-old self, the girl who stood up to her mother. And she was screaming, "This is not okay." Without a second thought, I called the police. Soon, there were sirens outside. Our neighbors were watching. And my children were crying. Seeing their tears broke my heart into a million pieces. But I knew something else mattered even more. My children had to learn, right then and there, that violence is never, ever acceptable. They had to learn that love does not mean suffering in silence. We went to counseling together. We talked, openly and honestly, about what had happened. I told them, you can't always control the things that happen to you in life, but you always have control over what you allow to continue. 10 years later, I sat alone in my quiet house, reading my daughter Mareo's university admission essay. And as I read her words, tears streamed down my face. She wrote, "My mother never went back to my father, and I don't blame her. Watching her work harder than ever to support us taught me what true strength is. Even in the most difficult times, she showed me that you can survive with dignity. My father's actions showed me the person I never want to be." In that moment, I saw her again. That 14-year-old girl, me, standing in front of the mirror all those years ago. Scared, but so brave. She smiled at me, and I heard her voice in my heart, saying, They know. They know it's not okay. They know who they are. They will love their children. There will be no violence in their homes. Breaking the cycle doesn't mean your life will be perfect. It just means your children's lives can be better. And I think that young girl, Funkit 14, would be proud of the woman I became. Thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe for more stories. Hey, thanks so much for sticking around to the very end of this video. I really hope you found it helpful and maybe even a little bit entertaining. Your support means the world to me, and it's what keeps this channel going. If you enjoyed what you saw, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button down below. Don't forget to ring the notification bell too, so you won't miss out on any of our future content. I've got so many more exciting videos planned for you. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. Thank you once again for being an awesome part of this community. I can't wait to see you in the next video.